Hey everyone, we're going to get into a little bit of editing here in Premiere, and I want to start that with um, first opening up a project that I have. This can go with anything, doesn't have to be just one particular project. So I'm going to go into File, Import, and I have a rendering here that I've done where I'm working with different types of fire for a project. So I've got this file here. Now remember, if you want to see full size images, just click right up there. And I can see now all my images. There's 500 of them. Okay, so I don't want to have to select and drag over all of these and import each one individually. That's a big waste of time. Let Premiere do some of the work for you. Just select your first image within that sequence. Make sure that image sequence is checked off right here. Go to open. And then here is a clip that is about 20 seconds long. Now I can always check what my frame rate is. And I can go to sequence. Oh, I have no sequence yet because I haven't created anything in my timeline. So I'm going to take this and drag it down here. Now we'll go to sequence settings, and it's 24 frames per second, pretty standard. And I've got the display that shows in my timeline is at a rate of 24 frames per second time code. All of this is great. So I'm just going to say OK. Now I'm down here on my timeline, and you can squeeze and zoom in, zoom out of your timeline by taking one of these ends of the handles here and dragging. You can also scrub along the timeline with this as well. My playhead is right here, and I can scrub through the playlist here. Now, as I go through this, I see a little bit of artifacts of something, and not liking right there. Okay, so this is intended to be two different scenes, both including fire, but I rendered it all in one sequence so that all I have to do here is, instead of rendering two different sequences, I rendered one sequence, and now I'm going to go and decide which frame it needs to be where I will cut. Okay, so I can further zoom in. You can see the detail now. If I use my arrow keys, it will go at a much smaller rate, so I can better decide where I need to cut this animation. So I think right about here looks like the end of the first sequence, and so all I need to do is go over here and find this little razor blade tool, or press C on your keyboard. The razor tool is great because all I have to do is select it and find where I want that slice to go and slice it right there. And just like that, I have two clips of one that begins here, one that begins here. So I can now take my move tool right here and slide this around and put it where I want it. Same thing with this one. And so now I have that. Another thing I want to get into is maybe some simple effects that Premiere has added in here. And since I have no audio in this, what we'll talk about is basically just some video effects, which I have here. I can look at all of these video effects, adjust, color correction, keying, time, transform. All of these things are great, but don't really apply to what I have here. So what I'm going to be more concerned with is maybe a video transition. As instead of it just going boom, it's in another place all of a sudden, what I'd like is maybe a little bit more of a transition between those two stages. This can also work very well if you're doing like a fade in or fade out from one scene to another within your animation. You have 3D motions, which are kind of cool. You can take one of these and drag it right between your two video clips. I'll drop it right there. And now when it's selected and I go to the ends, I can take these and shorten or extend it and make it as long of or short of an effect as I need to. Just know that when you make it shorter, it's going to get even faster. Longer is going to take up probably more of your footage. So find a good balance for your scene and if that works at all for you. And so when I hit play, boom, that kind of works out pretty good. So I like the way that looks. A little bit smoother, makes more sense. You know, it doesn't just all of a sudden jump. I could even extend it a little bit, and I think that works out pretty good. If you decide you don't want that, you can always make sure that you have it selected, and I will hit delete and say, you know, I'm not feeling that flip thing. Let me see what I can do. Maybe let's try like a dip to black, and drop that in there and see what that does. Oops, miskeyed there. That kind of works too. What I might do in that case is maybe extend it a bit, and fades in like that. Kind of cool. I like the way that looks. Your handles here that you have in Premiere are great. When you see that red handles there, it's telling you that you can squeeze them in and out. Same thing goes with your clips on the outside. I can take that and squeeze it inwards. What you want to be careful of is that when you take a clip and you place it over another one, it's going to automatically shave off time off your previous clip. And so in order to check that, you can move your clips around, grab the ends of your clip, and since I overlapped it, now it's kind of hiding. So I have to extend this back out to its normal length in order to see the full clip now. So you got to be careful with how you are moving around your footage. And let's see here. Let's play it out. See, now it's showing my previous footage that I had spliced, I guess I should say. Let's use the correct terminology here. So there, now I'm back to my original length, put this in its place. That works pretty good. If I want to get rid of that little dip or that little transition where it moves and maybe it's just instantly there, that works too. Notice that when I move clips around, my transition also disappeared because there's no place for it to go. Because you just can't take a transition like this and drop it in the middle of a clip like this. It will go into a place like that, but nothing shows up here as I'm holding it, just clicking and dragging. But right here it says, yes, I will go there. And now as I play again, that works out pretty good. So that is some quick and easy ways to make some changes. It also gives you options for, let's say, you know what, this clip is too long at the end. Let's cut, or there's maybe something that just doesn't look right in the middle. You can say that, and I don't like that image, or I don't like this part of the sequence right here. You can say, cut that right there. And you can select a little portion like that and just totally remove it and delete it. And then you can squeeze these two together now. Now that doesn't make any sense for this, so I'm going to undo that. But those are some options that will leave all the editing in for you in Premiere. Sometimes it's just easy to keep the bad shots that you take in the camera and just import them all and just go through your timeline and start slicing and splicing away and get rid of those things. So that's pretty much it for now. We'll come back later for more effects and more transitions and rendering of your videos later.